Why didn't I walk away from this? I could have saved so much money. Watch this video, you'll get that answer. All right, part of the rethreshing unit here, and you can see there's an old chain in here, and looks like a mouse chewed this. I guess you call it a paddle. And so Monday, today's Wednesday, Monday off of Shoop's, I just ordered a new one, and there's two of these. I just showed you where the other one's at. That's actually going to be the bigger, more expensive one, but inch by inch, it's a cinch. And if you turn around here, here's the new one laying on the ground, and you can see all these paddles are thick and heavy and new, and this has to do with the rethresher. And it's not a highly efficient combine in terms of what's out there on the market today in the computerized world, but it'll be as efficient as it was new. It's going to give you a little better perspective. You know, you can see here, new, old, frayed, chewed, not chewed. So yeah, just doing stuff like this to an old combine make a big difference too in what your sample looks like. But yeah, big shout out to Shoop, and they sent me a free hat and the whole 9 yards, probably a catalog, which I don't know, I'll never use because I do my shopping online. But there you go. I might even sport your hat for a couple days for getting this out here so darn quick. Well, finally took one for the team and went and spent the money on some new bats, and got some new negative, new ground cables. They're 10-inch. Well, we're back to Milwaukee. This is a 1/4 inch impact. She done. Thought about getting a DeWalt, going with DeWalt, but DeWalt ain't red. Well, would you look at there, we got the rethresher on, the bearings in place, just the cap and whatnot's not on there. Need to wire brush that, clean it up, file it, whatnot. But boy, these were a real treat, and I don't know if it got bent removing it. Actually used the loader to lift this off in one apparatus, and I don't know, but anyways, it's on there now, and you can see there's just still a little bit of assembly to go. And with these new batteries, I thought I'd hop up in here and see if it's turnkey. I don't know, probably not. Big old junky combine, probably don't even start, so let's go see. I mean, I walk around like this and stuff and see all that, and there's more than that just to dig out of it. So yeah, I don't know. Let's climb the ladder. Oh, before I turn the key on it, I should probably introduce you to what this thing's powered by. And this is a 354 Perkins 6. They call it a A6, I think, 354. Great engine. The only complaint I've ever heard about these is they're hard starting. Well, yeah, they're hard starting if you abuse the darn things, and they're not set right. This engine's got about 100 hours on it. And when I got this combine, I had some choices to make, and I had some choices to make real quick, because I can tell you, I'd go to start this thing and it couldn't start without ether. It didn't matter if it was Easter, it couldn't start without ether. So, and it didn't matter if it was 105 degrees out or 5 degrees out, and it didn't even matter if you plugged it in or not. This has good block heater in it. It works very effectively. I don't run it in the winter a whole bunch, so it doesn't really matter. But having said that, I had a decision to make. Sell this combine and just get rid of it completely, or rebuild this engine. Well, with 100 hours on it, you can pretty much figure out how to rebuild it. Out of frame, pulled it out of there, about 1,000 pounds, and did an out of frame rebuild. Now, when I'm talking engine rebuild, I am talking nut to butt. I'm talking the starter, the oil cooler. It wasn't just the engine itself; it was the engine and all supporting mechanisms. So it was a big to-do. And my thoughts were that even in the event that I got rid of the combine or junked the combine or did whatever to the combine, the engine was always going to be worth some money. And I see them going online for about $3,500, and those ones have, you know, a couple thousand hours on them. This one doesn't, and it doesn't need ether anymore. It doesn't need anything. It needs you to get in it and turn the key, and that's what we're gonna do, right? Meow. And I got some cab work to do in here too. I'd like to put a liner in it and stuff. So, all right. Well, we're looking out at the clover patch. I used to do Wildlife Wednesdays, and always said I was going to sit in here one time and do one, but I never did. But anyways, we're in neutral. Let's get a little fuel on the situation here. We'll go about half throttle. And we're in neutral. Clutch engaged. And let's hear it. And now, I haven't started this yet. There you go, and that's a Perkins. Just changed out the oil filter. I did a mineral grade break-in on this after the rebuild on that Perkins, about 50 hours, and then converted right over to Rotella 1540, full synthetic, not semi-synthetic, full synthetic, and added some Lucas synthetic additives. So, man, this engine's getting treated right. Somebody asked me, they're like, man, you're Farmall fanatic, why aren't you gripping an international combine? Well, I had this combine before I was Farmall fanatic. That's one main reason. The other reason is I'm so deep into it, I could never get out of it what I have. So I got to make this right, and then probably what I'll do is I'll go out and buy another one, and that one will be Case IH or even IH, I don't know, 1440, or if I was going to go out on a limb and spend some money, I'd probably go 2144. But anyway, sounds good. Always like this engine. You know, I can go pick 15, 20 acres. The tank's 60 gallons, and I can go pick 15, 20 acres, and you don't even notice the drop in that tank. So there you go, and that's a startup. Yeah, we'll shut her down. Hold stop. There you go. So to get back to the topic at hand here, when do you throw in the cards, throw in the towel? For me, I like a challenge. I don't like the challenge of being broke doing it, but I do like the challenge of taking something like this that isn't in perfect operable condition like it would have, say, been right out of the factory, and getting it there again. And this will be. There's no doubt about it. There are a lot of moving parts in this. It's not quite like a tractor, but what's the reality? The reality is once you fix all the moving parts and everything that there is on this or in the book that they tell you to fix, it's going to work perfectly. It just is. So I base out this entire combine around that Perkins engine, and really economical, 125 horsepower, and it's an operator's dream. I don't need more than 125 horse. I run a 15-foot head. You can see it says 9115, and that 15 designates it as a 15-foot head, and a 4-row narrow corn head. So I mean, how much power do you really need? And I can get going pretty good at a clip. I look forward to showing you that this year, because everybody's like, boy, the Massey's putting right along 2-3 miles an hour. You want to bet? And I'll do it in 55 bushel beans. And we'll look in the back and there won't be any beans out back. So, and that has to do with the rethreshing unit. And replacing those chains with the paddles on them. And there's another one in here. This is, I think that's the main one. And this is the secondary. So I've got to order that one yet. This one's already replaced, as you saw. All the bearings are done. The pulleys are good. Gears, belts, the whole 9 yards. I will show you over here real quick. All right, so right there's your main drive belt, okay? And then right in front of these springs, there's these two forks. And I was slipping a drive belt quite a bit that one year. And what I found out was there's a pivot point right here, right there. And that's supposed to have a little bit of movement to it. And mine didn't, it stiffened up. And what that did is it put all the pressure on the forks and it bent them. So obviously the belt couldn't run straight on the pulley and the drive belt kept coming off, which made the combine stop. So I went and had that remanned. This reworked. It was quite a bit. The machinist I took it to was like, dude, it took a lot of this and that and the other thing. And I was like, yeah, well, that's why I brought it to you. Didn't try to do it myself, but yeah, so that was an ordeal. Tell you a little story, okay? Some of you have been with the channel long enough, you're gonna know this story. So I'm on my way to pick my brother-in-law's soybeans. He had about 15-acre field, and I'm driving along, and I don't know, I'm not speeding, but I'm going at a pretty good clip, and all of a sudden I hear bang, 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 bang. Well, this whole wheel come off and was banging up against, I don't know, up in that area. And I was, oh, what a mess, what an ordeal. So I had to have a wrecker come out. The first two wreckers I called wouldn't do it. They're like, combine, farm equipment, are you loaded? Nope. Well, we still can't do it. The final guy I called finally come out and did it, and lifted the front end up. We were able to just kind of, I mean, we went so slow. I was probably 3-4 miles from home, and it felt like it took an hour. People driving by flipping me the bird, and it just didn't matter. We were going to get to where we needed to go, and boy, it was just dicey slicey. And I was sliding around. They had this thing that they lifted up under the combine, and I could feel myself shifting back and forth on it. And the only thing I thought is, if this combine goes, I'm staying with it, because I'm not having this thing roll on me. I was up in the cab, and but yeah, just a few stories about this thing, and I've only ran it a few years. Hey, thanks for watching. We got an auction tomorrow. Red Power, let's go. And not this red either.